Everybody, we're Xbox90 here with another EDH Commander video. In this one, we're going to tackle the question, what 3 cards does Roxbox90 think should come off the EDH Commander ban list? But which 3 cards does he think should go onto the ban list? Guess what? Both those questions are going to be dealt with right here in this video. And we're going to start off with the cards that I think should come off of the ban list. We'll start off with the most obvious one, which is Emrakul the Aeon's Torn, the 15/15 legendary Eldrazi that can't be countered, that when it comes into play you get an extra turn flying. When you cast it, it gets an extra turn flying, pro spells, annihilator. Basically, I win the game when I play this card. Don't you see my 15/15? I win card. Okay, a little out of hand, but pretty much the EDH player in everyone says, this card hits the board, I'm going to crush you all. But guess what, guys? Is he really quite as powerful as we're making out to be? That this card is not fair. You can use him as a commander, but no one really cares about him as a commander. Mostly it's like, we're going to cheat him into play. Alright, so you cheat him in a multiplayer game into play on turn 4, 5, 6. He's still 15 mana. It's not the easiest thing to ramp up in a multiplayer game, especially if you're kind of obvious about it. Hey, I got a Gaia's Cradle. Hey, I got a Cabal Coffers. Oh, I'm going to go look for more ramp. Oh, I have 12 mana now on turn 5. Does no one know what you're doing? No, it's pretty obvious. As a one of a 59 card deck, 100 card deck including your commander, seriously, this guy being the end-all be-all, there are so many ways to tackle him in EDH. Think about this. In a multiplayer game, you can't cheat him in the graveyard. He has to be cast from your hand, or from your deck, but basically from your hand. You can steal him via bribery. You can take care of his main effects via trigger counters such as Void Slime, Stifle, Trick Bind. They all lock down the extra turn, and they lock down his Annihilator, making him a lot less awesome. Wrath effects. Every instant speed wrath effect. You have Rout, you have O-Stone, Neverall's Disc, anything you can play right away that gets rid of this guy, all of which are between 5 and 7 mana, so again, not out of range at all. Land destruction, well, come on. Guys, I'm going to play a Gaia's Cradle, and then I'm going to go look for another huge ramp effect like Mana Reflection, and then I'm going to go get my Rafellos, and nobody knows what I'm doing. Come on, guys. He's a 15 mana card. If someone's ramping that hard to get him into play, you know it's coming. And if you know it's coming, it's so easy to stop. Because as I said, there's all these things. Land destruction. You get rid of his big land ramp cards, very hard to cheat into play. Let's say you get around that. You have a cheat spell. Somehow you get Emrakul out. Well, guess what's the most effective cards against this guy? Prevention effects, such as Icy Manipulator, Scepter of Domination, Opposition, Glare of the Subdual. If you have any of these cards in play when this guy hits play, it makes for a very interesting game. The guy that has that suddenly becomes the most powerful player on the field because he's locking down Emrakul. But with all these removal spells, all these effects, in a format that knows this guy is coming, is he really so unbelievably broken that he has to be on the ban list? I think not. I think should be on the ban list? Obliterate. Yes, this card, why is this card not on the ban list? It's an 8 mana card that says, do not have fun. The game is playing for a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour. Everyone's had their fun plays, combos going off, fun stuff happening, and one player comes along and plays Obliterate. It levels the field, it destroys your lands, your artifacts, your creatures, it leaves whoever has planeswalkers in charge of the game. How is this card not more annoying than Sway the Stars? All Sway the Stars does for 10 mana, be mindful, this is 8. 10 mana restarts the game where everyone's on less life. So guess what? You play another game, but everyone dies faster. This card, whatever the game state is at, you just ruin the fun. Whatever's out in play, whatever's happening, you play a card that can't be countered, which means there's only 3, maybe 4 effects that can take care of this card in the entire format, which makes this card an 8 mana. I do not want the game to be fun. And the fact that it's 2 red makes it very easily splashable. This card I've seen wreck games, ruin players' fun, and I think this card is far less enjoyable to play with than something like Emrakul. Really, guys? Obliterate. That card's got to go. The next card I was thinking about on the ban list currently is Coalition Victory. 3, 1 of each mana sorcery. You win the game if you control a land of each basic land type and a creature of each color. Why is this card banned? Mostly because it's not impossible to do in EDH. You have 8 mana. If you have a 5-color commander, there's your 5 creature. If you've gotten to the point where you have 8 mana, or close to that, then you probably have enough dual lands to mess around with that. And so you spend 8 mana to win the game. Most 8 mana spells in EDH can have the option of winning the game. Lots of spells that are a lot less than this make you win the game. It's sorcery speed, which means it's relatively easy to deal with in terms of counter spells. If someone is running 5 color and everyone would know this could be a card in their deck. It's not necessarily the hardest card to plan for. It costs a lot of mana. It's really awkward in terms of its colors. Yes, it's an instant win card, but there are plenty of those. And the fact that this card is banned, I really don't think it's of the power level that people make it out to be. Seriously. And people say, oh, it's not fun if you suddenly win the game. What about the infinite combo things that take forever to work off? Let me do my million triggers and then I win the game for half the mana. Seriously, I think Coalition Victory is not nearly a powerful enough card for this list. I just don't think it's deserving of the list that's currently the Commander thing. What do I think should be in terms of fun, in terms of ruining a player's game? How about Magister Sphinx? I would also say Sorin, but honestly Sorin is a lot less damaging. He's harder to splash because of his 3 color, and he's a Planeswalker, which means it's very hard to cheat him and to reuse him in play. Magister Sphinx, 7 mana creature. He's an artifact creature, so he's easier to cheat into play than just a regular creature would be. He's a creature, so he can be cheated from your hand and from your deck. He can be stolen from someone else's deck. He can be messed around with graveyard shenanigans. He's an artifact creature that does basically Sorin's effect, but can be abused infinitely more. And this guy is regularly reanimated, bounced, reused, over and over, flickered. He's just the most annoyingly frustrating card, and he ruins the game for a lot of players. He comes into play, and suddenly one guy at the table is screwed. And then, other people at the table, your time will come. But the first guy that Magister Sphinx hits is the one that everyone is, oh man, too bad, Magister Sphinx. Oh, this card is just so aggravating, so easy to mess around with, so easy to ruin the game's fun for people. So for multiplayer EDH, really do we need to ban Coalition Victory when a card like Magister Sphinx is flying high and dry? I don't think so. The last one's a little more controversial. I would say Metalworker, which is on the ban list. I would say it's probably the third one that should come off. Because yes, it's powerful. Yes, it can work into infinite combos. Yes, it can be annoying. And guess what? Staff of Domination is not banned, so this card and that kind of are best buddies. But seriously, you need a dedicated artifact build to be really insane. 2, you're a creature, a 1/2 bodied artifact creature. There's so many ways to deal with this guy in EDH Commander. It's unreal. He's not just a creature, he's an artifact creature. Million ways to handle him. 3, he has to tap, which he can't do immediately. Yes, you can mess around combo cards and synergies to make him tap right away, but on his own, he cannot tap right away, which means you have a full turn for a multiplayer field to deal with him. That presumes it's an artifact-heavy build. If it's not an artifact-heavy build, this guy's not nearly as powerful as people make him out to be. Honestly, I just don't see the threat. We have things like Staff of Domination still around. This guy being on the ban list, I really don't see how that functions. But I would say that this guy, Deadeye Navigator, talk about combos. Deadeye Navigator on his own can warp an entire field. He flickers by being able to constantly change and reflicker cards. He makes for unreal combo chains. This guy is unreal in this format in terms of the amount of crazy synergies, infinite combos. This guy is almost, I would say, even as bad as Palinchron in terms of a combo engine. I don't think that this guy is significantly worse than Metalworker in terms of the threat he presents. Metalworker is more splashable, but Metalworker can be dealt with a lot more easily than this guy. This guy protects himself. You can flicker him out of play, so he protects himself against everything. I just don't know what else to say, but this guy is so crazy. The fact that he's not banned, I would probably ban him. So the 3 cards I would take off: Metalworker, Coalition Victory, and Imrakul. And then cards I put on would be Deadeye Navigator, Magister Sphinx, and Obliterate. That's pretty much what I got to say about these cards. Let me know your thoughts about, do you agree with what I have to say? Do you have other cards you would change? Why would you change them? And the like. Stay tuned for more EDH Commander Top 10 countdowns. Those will be coming up shortly. Like the video to let me know that you liked it and that you want me to make more stuff. And that's pretty much it. As always, Roxabox90 signing out. I'll see you guys next time.